and we are live on KEXP. I'm Larry Mizell Jr. in the live room right now, and I am absolutely honored to have with us here today Saul Williams, Carlos Nino, and friends, live in ceremony and experience right here, KEXP.org, live on KEXP.
Only the strong go crazy. The weak just go along. After the bars and the gates and the degradation, what is left? After the lock-ins and the lockouts and the lockups, what is left? I mean, after the chains that get entangled in the gray of one's matter, after the bars that get stuck in the hearts of men and women, what is left? After the tears and disappointments, after the lonely isolation, after the cut wrist and the heavy noose, what is left? I mean, after the commissary kisses and the get your shit off blues, after the hustler has been hustled, what is left? After the murder burgers and the goon squads and tear gas, what is left? I mean, after you know that God can't be trusted, after you know that the shrink is a pusher, that the world is a whip, and the badge is a bullet, what is left? After you know that the dead are still walking, after you realize that silence is talking, that outside and inside are just an illusion, what is left? I mean, like, nothing is standstill and nothing is abstract. The wing of a butterfly can't take flight. The foot on my back is part of a body. The song that I sing is a part of an echo. What is left? I mean, like, love is specific. Is my mind a machine gun? Is my heart a hacksaw? Can I make freedom real? Yeah. What is left? I am at the top and bottom of a lower archy. I am in love with losers and laughter. I am in love with freedom and children. Love is my sword, and truth is my compass. What is left? Those words are by Assata Shakur, written in July 1977, while in a New Jersey prison before she escaped. And once again today, she escaped. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We've lost our minds. We've lost our will. We've lost our way. Our means of connecting. Sucked out of us. By the barrel of a gun. A gun that would have us pleasure flag, sing an anthem, to stolen land. All points of indoctrination. And out of the sun's gates come little girls in dresses of fire, wearing pigtails of braided smoke which stem from their moon-cratered scalps. The glowing seeds of a nightly garden that will blossom in the full moons irregardless of the sun. They know the night and the 7 names of the wind through the tales of their wind-blown fathers. Who will father these mothers of light? And what will become of me? Children of the night. Only some will star the sky, only believers in death will die, and fathers must feather the wings of women. For the unfeathered masses dangle ridiculous, carrying crosses to phallic-filled tubes. The future sails silent through blubbered rooms that ripple with riddles of cows and spoons and births, moons and earths, sun-centered at noon. She buries her eggs in the soil. And plants her feet in the sky. Soil sees a circus of carrots and clowns and minstrel shows our desires, and here I stand, court gesturing infinity, fetal fisted for revolution, but open hands birth humility. I am forever humbled. By your spirit, Asada. By all that you taught. All that you shared. All that you took the time to understand and pass on from one generation to the next. We are co-conspirators. Black and indigenous co-conspirators. They say that the United States fought for its independence from Britain. And one might make the mistake of thinking that a colony had been liberated. But this is a settler colony. And liberation of the colony is not achieved until it is achieved by the indigenous of this land. And all the settlers in office, all the settlers in corporate buildings, all the settlers in uniform with badges, all the settlers will be silenced. May the protectors of this land may they know and trust that we are co-conspirators in the annihilation of this illegitimate colony. There is no American dream. That is not a settler's dream. The founding fathers will be found dead where we left them. First multinational corporation was the Dutch West India Trade Company. European settlers who handed a dead currency to the Lene Lenape on the island of Manhattan, believing that they had purchased an island. This idea of private property this idea of settler colonialism, this idea of civilization which means no more than genocide. They could not understand why, after giving what would be the modern-day equivalent of $24 to the Lene Lenape, why the Lene Lenape did not leave the island, why they continued to fish there and hunt there, and continued to share their wealth, their hospitality with the settlers that had arrived. The settlers became impatient and decided to build a wall around the southernmost part of the island. It was the wall that was built to keep the Lene Lenape out. A wall that was built to keep the indigenous out. Within the walls of their compound, they charged a fee for other settlers to enter. They created a marketplace where you could purchase or rent African slaves. You could purchase goods, wood, furs. They created this marketplace And that marketplace exists to this day in the very spot where they built it. At the time, it was called an exchange. At this time, it is called the New York Stock Exchange. The wall that they built around the southernmost part of the island of Manhattan no longer exists, but there is a marker that tells you exactly where this wall was. This wall that was built to keep the indigenous out. This wall that was built to keep the Lene Lenape out. The wall no longer exists, but the marker exists exactly where it was. It is called Wall Street. Capitalism has always been racial. The banks and insurance companies that exist were created to ensure human commodities on ships during the transatlantic slave trade. And they have worked to convince us that this system which imprisons Black and indigenous people, this system which detains Black and indigenous and Asian migrants, this system which destabilizes countries like the Congo, Sudan, in order to extract resources intended to be used for their so-called technology. So-called because it is forever rooted in analog exploitation, slavery, child labor. This system that Wall Street represents, that the so-called free market represents, is opposed to the progress of humanity. Individuated vulnerability to premature death. This is how the abolitionist Dr. Ruth Wilson Gilmore defines racism. Race is a political category disguised as a biological one. And capitalism and democracy have never going hand in hand. Has always gone hand and ankles and necks in chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Live, KEXP. Saul Williams, Carlos Nino, and friends.
Yes, our friend today is Mr. Aaron Shaw.
Yes, indeed. Thank y'all. I am so deeply honored that you came here to share some of that light and truth today.
It's a heavy light.
It is a heavy light. It is indeed. I'm curious your perspective on this. I've been listening to you nigh on 3 decades of sharing that truth. What is it for you to reflect the now and still laugh and smile?
I mean, that's a daily practice.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, to me, that's just, even in the midst of it all, right? In the midst of all of the chaos, we always find ourselves dancing through it, you know, finding the light points and finding ways to see through it. Humor helps sometimes, and all of these things, you know, they feed the process. So for me, the process of really like reflecting the times in my work, it's something that's always been exciting to me. I don't mean just the content. Also, I mean the style, whether it's the beats or the sounds or the cadences or, you know, whatever pockets we find. All of these things are something that have served as points of motivation creatively through time, you know?
Yeah.
And so the only thing that has really shifted through time has been greater insights into our relationship to music specifically and art in general, you know? And so we keep exploring. And it's funny because the sort of thing that I'm playing with now is exactly what I avoided when I started. I was like, oh, they would love to hear poetry with the saxophone.
Sure.
I will not be doing that. You know, I was very much like, we're doing drum and bass today. Like I was very much into exploring in that direction. And but it's interesting because at the beginning of my career, one of the very first people that I connected with when I left New York, and the first time I ever came out to California, for example, to perform, person I met very early on and who invited me out there was Carlos Nino. And that's after I had released my very first single. And he flew me out there to perform. It's at that show that I ended up meeting. I was already in dialogue with, but I hadn't met him in person, with Rick Rubin.
Okay.
I think I met Zach De La Rocha that night. There's so many people we met that you know, that became friends and what have you. But yeah, it was always, in terms of content, you know, we have a lot to pull from because we're learning as we go, and the assault on our people, on people who are opposed to the system, the state, what have you, has been ongoing all of this time. So there's always been ideas to pull from. So I always consider myself playing more with styles of how to present these ideas.
Yeah. And what is the occasion that brought it to this style? You guys have known each other a long time now, but now we have this great record, Saul Williams, Carlos Nino, and Friends live at Tree People. What kind of occasion this fomented this collaboration?
So stoked to be here at KEXP. Larry, I love you and your family.
Brother, love you too, man.
Big ups to Nep Sidhu and our dear brother Ishmael.
Yes, sir.
Saul, I was such a gigantic fan of Neptune Frost and got very emotional at the screening, and had always been a big fan and supporter of Saul's and friend of Saul's, and we were friends and got to collaborate on a lot of projects that were primarily about concerts and conversation and things of this kind. But it was after Neptune Frost that I really felt like I need to do something with Saul. I thought about it, as maybe an idea for a long time, but something clicked after that, and we started to see each other. I invited Saul into the sessions for what would become New Blue Sun, the Andre 3000 project. Started connecting with Saul more via Shabaka, who we have in common, a dear friend of both of ours. And there were just these encounters where I feel like we were starting to feel like we were going to do something, like it was our time. And I am really grateful that this album came out. It was definitely our way of sharing with some community that we were getting in the studio. It was never intended to be an album. But Kamasi came out. Yeah. Aaron Shaw, who's with us today, is on the entirety of that album. So many great people came to collaborate with us. Even my dear homegirl Francesca Hart, all the way from Milan, Italy. She was in town. I got her up with us, and they decided they wanted to put that out, the label, which we were good with. But we also finished Saul's new album.
And that was the thing. That was the funny thing about this album, the Tree People album, is that in our excitement of the fact that we were going into the studio together, we were like, let's announce it at a show. Yeah. And so we put together this show to announce that we were on our way into the studio. But they ended up making an album of that show as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, we did end up going to the studio, and so the studio.
Yeah, I mean, the fires came, and there was a lot of things that were really challenging in the turn of the year.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we have to do it. We have to go in the studio. Like I don't care if there's no budget. I'll finance it. Like, we're doing it. And a lot of our dear folks came out. I can't wait for you to hear it. And I did want to just say one thing about the first question you asked, about smiling and laughter. I just want to say, and I feel like this could be said in many different ways, but like the real treachery that we stand up against, the murderous, awful energy that is being perpetrated on this planet by some humans, it's not everything. Yeah. And as much as we are going to share our voice and offer our offerings, like, our lives are vastly dimensional beyond that vile, murderous energy that we are also going to stand against, that in some ways we're willing to not be here to stand up against. But there's, infinite eternal consciousness. There's so many things happening on this planet that are like completely amazing, like you can't even imagine. And I'm interested in also sharing my experiences in that with anyone that we can. And I think that Saul does that because Saul's funny, and he's
don't tell them, don't tell them.
super sweet, in welcoming, inviting, and it really is all those things, right? Because this struggle, and we know some people who they don't have anywhere to turn. They don't have access. They don't have ability to do any of the things we're doing. But while we have the ability to do what we're doing, it's going to reflect the multitude of our feelings, of our awareness, of our communion, of our community.
Yeah.
And that does bring about a lot of other feelings and expressions, and so I just say, like, we have to continue representing all of that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and
That's beautiful. Thank you. And I love to learn that this is basically like, a funny thing happened on the way to the studio.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
make Saul's new album. Now, that was my next question. What's next? So now,
Yo.
that's fantastic. Anything you want to say about that?
Aaron Shaw's debut album is coming out
fantastic. Yes.
in early
Really excited about
2026. There's a very high likelihood that in the next few days we're solidifying all the plans for Saul's album, which we're happy to announce because it was never a secret. Like even that day,
Sure.
we're like,
Yeah, that was the whole purpose. Was to announce it. It's beautiful. It's exciting. It's I mean, I will say that I am deeply enamored by Carlos's ear. As a musician, I've always enjoyed working with producers, and I've worked with producers in many senses. There's the hip hop sense, where that means it's someone who's making beats. The first producer I worked with was Rick Rubin, and Rick wasn't making any beats. When he worked with me, he was just sitting back and letting me know when something got in the way of him loving it, And I think my relationship to producers really comes from being an actor first and always working with directors. You can be as good as an actor as you want, but that outside eye of the director who's saying, I think we should try it again, or the light wasn't hitting you right, or any of these things, And so I have that relationship to music producers, and I love that second set of ears,
Yeah.
And Carlos exhibits an extreme amount of patience, which isn't really my strong point. And
it's not mine either.
but sonically, like if you hit a cymbal, you're not going to end the recording before the last echo of that cymbal, is gone. Where I might be like, that's enough.
Yeah.
And so, for the upcoming album that follows this, there's definitely some nuances and what have you that are really precious and kind of new to me in terms of this exploration of working with Carlos. And so it's kind of a full circle thing because, as he stated, like we've known each other for quite some time. But I've always been familiar with the world of sounds that Carlos loved. And I also knew sometimes that this might be a little too hard or crazy for Carlos or whatever. I always questioned whether some of the stuff I was doing, but I had to follow where I was going, and where this new album lands is a beautiful, it's a beautiful junction of something extraordinary, just like this album.
Yeah.
Just like this album. I mean, this album for me is very much like a palate cleanser that is so necessary, specifically because of the fact that, it was not planned. Not only was it not planned as an album, but the performance itself is all improvised. Like today, it's all improvised. And so we're just kind of calibrating the times, the day. Like today is the day where I woke up inspired. You don't know this, inspired by Carlos. He was like, we're starting the tour. I'm going to start getting, blah, 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 focused and what have you. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'm gonna stretch, do some exercises today. I did that. I went out, took a walk, then came back, picked up my phone, and learned that Assata Shakur had passed. And this is why I read what I read today. I began today by sharing a piece written by Assata Shakur, which I transcribed today just because what she has meant and continues to mean and symbolize for so many of us who understand the importance of standing up against imperialism and, you know, all of those horrors that Carlos referenced. Today's performance was an homage to her, but the recording, which was recorded, I think, December 18th, 2024, the Tree People album, had to do with that day and what I had learned about what was happening that day, particularly in Gaza. And so this whole tour for us, which we're starting today, is that we are reflecting the times each night. We're just reflecting the times. And
Marshall Allen refers to it as vibrations of the day.
Exactly.
It's like vibrations of the day. You know, sometimes we call it spontaneous co-creation, spontaneous composition. There's so many words or ideas to express what it is, and they're all right sometimes, you know. I really feel like it's so fortuitous, Larry, to see you there, to see Saul, to see Aaron. But I once again just want to say Ishmael Butler is one of my dearest big brothers, and he's here. Seattle, we love Seattle. And then Marcus J. Moore was going to be your guest today. And Lizzie, who I've been hearing about, the harpist from Philly, who I'm getting to meet for the first time. And we're here with Gabriel and Alex Kelman and Zach Pruitt, and it's a real family. Big ups to Aaron Johnson, who's not here, but who put so much of this together. And
yes, in fact, Seattle has always been very special to me, and it's very interesting that we're starting this tour here, because the first time that I ever performed poetry outside of New York City was Bumbershoot Festival.
Wow.
Might have been in 1999 or something.
Okay.
That's right. I was there.
Yeah.
I was going to say, somebody in this room or listening was definitely in the house.
Jim was there too.
I had put a band together. It was amazing. My brother Jonathan Moore was there.
Jay Moore, R.I.P.
Yes, another rest in peace.
Hermeto Pascual, rest in peace, or you know, just infinite eternal love to the giant. Sorry.
Yeah. But it was a huge crowd. I never forget that, and it was so. I hadn't had an album come out yet. I had a band, but it was kind of like this, because I put together this band, flew them all from New York, but it was like, we're gonna improv. Like, I didn't tell them what to play, I told them what not to play. Like, don't go to any like familiar bass lines or drum beats, you know? And
we didn't do that today either. There was no familiar bass lines or drum beats.
Music of the now. You know? Music of the now.
It was that. I also remember that. I'm about to call somebody out. I also remember that Bumbershoot was special because the Roots were scheduled to perform. Do you remember this? They were scheduled to perform. And in fact, the director of Slam, my first film, Mark Levin, was shooting them at the West Indian Day Parade in Brooklyn. And he had called me like, I'm with the Roots here. I'm like, yo, I'm at a festival and I heard that they're performing. Went to the side of the stage to watch the so-called Roots perform. And they had their B team on stage, yo. Like, they had a B team Amir, a B team Tariq.
No way.
This is classic.
Yo, what?
I remember this was such a huge deal
without
when this
the
happened.
Roots,
They called them
but
the bench?
listed as the Roots.
It was Dice Run Scratch were the only members.
Exactly, Dice Run and Scratch.
Yo, Scratch is awesome. I would have
Yeah. No, it was dope.
Amazing cats.
It was dope.
This was such a huge
big ups to Sean
controversy.
Kemp too. His highlight reel, I was saying, is hugely inspiring to me.
I'll say that.
I don't know sports like that, but I love that guy. So
Hey. We love that cat too.
But
Hey,
you
you'll
remember
see
that.
him around here every now and then too. Matter of fact, that's amazing. By the way, Saul, because that was such a huge
You remember
deal
that?
in town at the time, and that was the Roots were running the B team for a while. I saw a couple B team shows back
Yo,
then.
that was crazy.
Thank you for that. Thank you both. Thank you, all three of you. Thank you so much. Thank everybody in this room. But thank y'all for bringing your truth and your instinct here today and for everything you've put into the culture, into the universe.
Indeed.
Deeply
absolutely.
appreciate. Love and admiration. And thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And long live radio, because what you guys have going here is very special and it's very rare. And it's like fewer and fewer facilities like this. And to all the people who are hanging out that we can't really see, but we know and we feel, thank you for coming out today. And that this is a radio station that is providing all of this, that's creating all this. Woo! And I come from radio.
Yeah.
So
Indeed.
I love radio. Long live radio.
And long live Asada Shakur.
Asada Shakur.
Amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is KEXP, live on KEXP. I'm Larry Mizell Jr. Listeners like you make sessions like this possible, make moments like this possible, make connections like this happen every day. So thank you for that. Keep doing it. Go to kexp.org to help make it happen. Make sure you like and subscribe to KEXP YouTube if you haven't already so you can see the session when it drops on YouTube. Thank you again for all you do. This is live on KEXP, where the music matters. Discover new music at kexp.org.